Hi everyone, it's Julianne here and welcome back to my channel. I am super excited to be sharing with you all a brand new stencil from Miss Ink Stamps. They actually released a couple of new stencils today in kind of like a sort of mini stencil release. So I'm super excited to be sharing one of them with you all as I create this thank you card. Now the stencil I'm going to be using today is the Lot of Love stencil. All of the stencils in this release are so delicate and pretty. The amount of detail that Miss Ink Stamps got in each one of these stencils is just ridiculous. I am in awe of all of the detail. Now I'm going to be placing my stencil off to the side for just a little bit, and I'm going to be starting out my card by first ink blending my panel, which is a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock that I have trimmed down to A2 size. And I'm going to be ink blending some broken china in that bottom left-hand corner of my panel. And I'm going to be really focusing that color in that corner. And then I'm going to be fading that color out onto the rest of my panel. I'm then going to be taking that Lot of Love stencil and I'm going to place that directly over my panel. Now, since this is such a detailed and intricate stencil, like I mentioned earlier, I have sprayed the back of that stencil using some pixie spray. And so that's going to make it so once I place that stencil down, the pixie spray isn't going to allow the stencil to move as I'm doing my ink blending. Now, I still do like to add some washi tape to the sides of my stencil just for some added protection, but you definitely do not need to do this. Now for the stencil, I'm going to be ink blending with Wild Honey, and I'm going to be ink blending the entire stencil, really making sure that I apply a lot of that color since I am going over that broken china. Now I know this color combination sounds very weird, and trust me, I was a little scared to remove the stencil because I really wasn't sure how it was going to look. But hang on, to my surprise, it really does work out really nice. The colors really go well together. So now before I remove my stencil, I'm going to come in and darken that bottom corner just a little bit more by adding in some Vintage Photo. And once I have that color down, I'll then be coming back in with Wild Honey to go over the entire stencil one more time in order to get a seamless blend between those two colors. Now, without removing my stencil, I just took a microfiber cloth and I wiped that stencil off in order to get off any excess ink that might be left on there. And I'm now going to be coming in with some Gina K Glitter Glitz gel in the color Iridescent, and I'm going to be applying that glitter glitz over my entire stencil. This is going to really add a nice layer of glitter over that ink blended area, but it's also going to really intensify that Wild Honey color, as well as giving my card some dimension. So I'm just going to make sure that I cover that entire area, and once I'm done, I'll then remove my stencil in order to reveal my background panel. I just love how that Wild Honey and that broken china look together. I'm really glad that I stuck with it. Once my background panel is all dry, you can see just how vibrant that Wild Honey really is now. So I'm just going to put that all off to the side, and I'm going to be pulling out my MISTI now, and I'm going to be stamping out my image for my card. Now this gnome comes from the Coffee Gnome stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping him down twice using some Memento Tuxedo black ink, and I am going to be stamping him on a sheet of expressive blending cardstock. Now once I have him all stamped out, and before I put my MISTI away, I'm now going to be stamping out my sentiment as well. I'm going to be placing a piece of craft cardstock inside of my MISTI, and I'm going to be stamping out the sentiment that reads, "Thank you so very much." And this sentiment is from the Fall Bouquet stamp set. I'll be stamping that sentiment a few times to get a really nice solid black outline. And I just love the script on this sentiment. I love it. I just love it. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit closer to the camera so you can really see just how pretty it is. And then I'll just place all of that off to the side. And I'm going to start working on my Copic coloring. Now I'm going to be coloring in the gnome in an orange-yellow color combination. I really thought that this color really went well with that Wild Honey from earlier. I'll be coloring in his hat as well as his pants in that color. And then in order to bring in some blue for that broken china, I'll be coloring in his coffee mug as well. Now, once I was finished coloring, off camera I did fussy cut out my gnome, and I'm now going to start working on adhering everything together. I'm going to be starting out by using some liquid adhesive in order to adhere my background panel down to my A2 size card base. And I have trimmed and scored that out of some more of that craft cardstock. Now I did end up trimming down my background panel to just slightly smaller than A2 size. That way when I adhere it down, I'm going to have that really nice border all the way around my card. Now once that's all adhered, I'm now going to be adhering down my sentiment to my background as well, and I've just added some foam adhesive behind that, and I'm just going to be lining that up in that top right hand corner. Now to adhere my gnome, I've added some additional foam adhesive behind him, and I'm going to be adhering him in the center of that stencil area. And once I have him all adhered, I'm then going to be finishing off my card for today by just scattering a few honey jar confetti mix sequins from Honeybee stamps throughout my entire background. And once I get each one of those adhered, that's going to complete my card today using one of the brand new stencils from Miss Ink Stamps. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel for even more card making ideas. If you want to check out the rest of the beautiful stencils that Miss Ink Stamps just released, I will have a link down below in the description box, as well as links to everything that I've used in this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.